CV Boats presents Florida Sport Fishing, television for the avid angler, powered by Mercury Marine. Oh, yeah. On this episode of Florida Sport Fishing.
That's what I'm talking about. Book your spot today.
Florida Sport Fishing TV proudly utilizes and endorses Spool Tech, Hyperlastics, Engage, and Ocean-borne lures. Stay connected with the next generation of innovative and effective soft and hard baits for every venue. Taco Marine, official outrigger system of Florida Sport Fishing TV. Salt Life Optics, anti-glare Zeiss lenses provide unparalleled protection and polarization.
So we're here with Captain Greg. Greg, do you find, year-round, seasonally, best season to come out here and fish?
It's more about the conditions. So obviously you get the best conditions of the year in the summertime. But in the wintertime, the fishing conditions are good.
So year-round, the fish are out here, but like you said, just that spring through fall, you get the better conditions. And where do you find this fishery going in the future? What do you think your plans are? You're constantly, like on this trip, we're looking, we're learning, you're looking for new spots, or what do you think the future is?
Oh, I think it's the way that it is. Keep looking and finding stuff, and you leave stuff alone, let it build back up. It should be sustainable for a long time.
Nice, nice. So the key is just not overfishing it.
Don't beat up on it.
Take a few, leave a few. Great attitude. Big gray tile fish. And if you have to share with people that are booking, guys that are booking for the first time, what's the most important thing you can want to share?
Pay attention to that website and the tackle recommendations. 100% be prepared. Bring with exactly what we tell you to bring, and you'll be good to go.
That's it. We can't stress that enough. And even so many guys have emailed me and called me about, they've watched our trips here in the past and they ask these questions about tackle or what they want to bring, and we say the same thing. Everything's listed right on the site. They spell it out for you. These guys want you to be successful. They want you to catch fish. Pay attention to what they're telling you. They're out here day in and day out. They've got their finger on the pulse. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. They know what works.
We've made all the mistakes for you already. No need for you to do it too.
There it is. All right, let's get baited up and get back down. 300, we're in about 600 feet of water, so I got a little ways to go to get to the bottom. But I wanted to just remind you, not to be too fast on the trigger when you get a bite down there on a deep drop rig, especially in these conditions without a lot of current. Give the fish a chance to consume that bait, to get that big circle hook in its mouth. Of course, if it's a big grouper, a big queen, they're just going to inhale the whole thing. But sometimes a smaller fish, a smaller gray tile fish, maybe a small yellow eye snapper, might not be able to get that whole bait in its mouth at one shot. So you really just have to kind of feel it out, take your time. Interestingly, it's hard to tell sometimes from the bite what the size of the fish is. Oftentimes what you see as a little tap ends up being, a big hefty fish. Whereas a tug sometimes is a small fish. You just don't know. You can't judge it by the bite all of the time. I mean, certainly it's a good indicator. Like right now I'm getting tapped, and it just feels like a doesn't feel like it's anything big, but that could be a big grouper that, there he is. Look at that rod tip right there. Oh, feels like he let it go. I was a little bit fast there, just lifting the rod. There. Okay, look, see that rod tip right there? He's on there. I'm just gonna slowly engage the reel. And there he is, right there. Yep. And right out of the gate, doesn't feel like a very big fish. Only feels like a small vermilion or a small pile. But you got to bring it up. You got to bring the fish all the way up and rebait anyway, get it off the hook. But that's the ticket, get down on the bottom, stay in touch with the bottom, always have rig awareness, knowing where your rig is. Be patient. You're going to get tangled up if you're on a head boat like this. If you're on your own boat and there's only 1 or 2 people deep dropping, obviously a much easier scenario. In this sort of venue with this many people, you're gonna get tangled. Don't get frustrated. Just slow it down. Let the crew do their job, you know, and get back in the water as quickly as you can. There. We'll let you know in 365 feet.
Are you ready for a world-class adventure? Fishing up to 150 miles offshore and always on the hunt for untouched fisheries, the legendary 100-foot Yankee Capts is Florida's premier long-range headboat. Fish around the clock for trophy snapper, grouper, tilefish, tuna, and more. With all the comforts of home and plenty of elbow room, Captain Greg Mercurio and his dedicated crew will put you or your entire charter on a hot bite fishing the famed halfway ledge, Pulley Ridge, and beyond. Rated #1 in service, Yankee Capts sails from Key West year-round.
The award-winning Z Performance line from CV raises the bar. It's not just fast. It's not just fuel efficient. The CVZ is the entire package. It offers the perfect balance, safe, predictable handling during hard turns and at high speed. And most importantly, the Z stays on plane at lower speeds, so it can comfortably handle anything Mother Nature can dish out. Experience the exhilarating ride of the CVZ. Schedule a sea trial today.
When you're in command of a boat with Mercury 400 horsepower Verados, you might start to feel like you're someone that fish should fear, that the water should respect, and that the world should acknowledge. Until you realize you are all those things. The Mercury 400 horsepower Verado. Power, control, and speed in a lightweight package.
Fiberglass. They use it to build boats and yachts because of its strength and durability. And that's exactly what every Frigid Rigid cooler is made out of. This is my set after 12 years, and I keep them outdoors. With industrial grade rubber gasket and stainless steel hinges with backing plates, not a single component has failed on any of them. Can you honestly say that about your coolers? From 35 to 300 quarts, there's a Frigid Rigid cooler, coffin box, or freezer for every boat. Finally, got the right bite. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely got a nicer fish here. Look at him just digging back toward the bottom. Got plenty of bites, a lot of smaller to medium-sized fish, but keep looking for some bigger ones, and hopefully this is the right one. Staying at the rail pays off. You know, prep, one of the things we didn't really talk about as much as we should. How important it is to be properly prepared. You know, we talked about yourself, but tackle. I mean, I can't stress this enough. Anything you think you're gonna need, you better bring, and you better bring extras and even more. You know, for a variety of different types of fishing on this sort of trip, obviously we're deep dropping, that's what we're focusing on. So of course your electric reels, your power assist tackle, extra cord, extra braid, plenty of pre-tied rigs. You don't wanna be spending time tying rigs during a hot bite. You want to be able to reach into your tackle box and grab a rig if you need one, and you're gonna need them. Leads, I mean, minimum, you know, 6 to 12, 2 and 3 pound leads per angler. That's at a minimum. And you know, you may not use them. May only use 2 or 3, great. But if you need them, that's right. Better to have it and not use it than need it and not have it. Extra hooks, everything. Hand towel, bait knife, a small bait cooler. These small little things are gonna make a big difference in how much enjoyment you have on the trip and how successful you are. Because really, at the end of the day, listen, this is about catching fish. That's what this is. I don't care, you know, we all love to be out on the water, but you're paying a lot of money, you're spending a lot of time putting in a big effort, and boy, isn't it nice to go home with a ton of fish and really have a great productive trip. Ooh, digging. That's what this is about at the end of the day. It's about how many fish you catch. You know, so many anglers will tell you, hey, whoa, I'd rather be out in a rough ocean and have a great bite when the conditions are uncomfortable than to have it to be flat calm and have slow fishing. So, and that's just one of many examples that prove how important it is putting together, you know, the proper gear. Here comes my fish right there. So, preparation pays. Is that an Almaco? Holy moly. Almaco that destroyed my rig. Holy smokes. What an absolutely beautiful day way out in the Gulf of Mexico. Howell Hook. You want to know where we are? That's where we are. You've heard of Pulley Ridge, you've heard of areas beyond Pulley Ridge, and now you've heard of Howell Hook. So little fishing pressure. I mean, how about next to zero fishing pressure? A few commercial boats every now and then will come out here, long line for snappers and tiles. Very little, if any, recreational pressure. Totally the last frontier of bottom fishing in Florida. This whole area out here. It's incredible. And we're so fortunate to be able to have this venue, this opportunity to come out and take advantage of it. This whole group of guys here. Everybody's wore out, they're beat up. They're beat up. The sun, the long hours at the rail, and so many fish. They're just beat up. There's a nice yellow eye snapper. Nice yellow eye snapper. On the bottom hook. There he is right there. Boom. I'm beat up too.
Pros tip, Wind Rider, the finest foul weather gear for any climate.
So again, just gotta take another tag, give it to the mate. It's gonna staple it right to that fish's face. Lucky number 13, immediately, literally within minutes of the fish being caught, it's packed in ice. In big fish boxes all around the boat, in the stern, up in the bow, packed in ice. So your fish are kept in prime shape while you're fishing. Once we get back to the dock, all of the fish are brought off the boat in bins, still on ice. They still cover them in ice. Everybody lines up all of their own personal coolers, all of the numbers are called, and all of the fish are distributed. Now at that point, what we do to take care of our catch is, again, we pack all of those fish in ice really well in our frigid, rigid coolers. These things are better than any freezer or refrigerator. I mean, forget the roto-molded coolers, frigid, rigid. So we pack all of our fish in them, and that's what we use to transport the fish home, and they'll stay packed for 24 hours till the next day. We're so beat up, and you know, we like to get home and relax and unwind from the long trip. The following day, at home on my dock, where I've got my boat outfitter's fillet table, hoses, knives, you know, a good, clean, ready to go work environment. Now I'm gonna start tackling filleting all of the fish. I'll keep my coolers right there, all of the fish on ice, and literally one at a time, take them out, carefully fillet them. I put in so much time and effort. I'm really big on making sure that my catch is in prime shape. I'm gonna fillet all of the fish, keep them separate because it's easy to mix up sometimes those queen snappers and the yellow eye snappers, and I don't know, I like to keep it all separate. I like to know exactly what fish I'm eating, even though they're all equally delicious. Once all of the fillets are done, in the house, vacuum sealed and labeled. And what I end up with is literally just dozens and dozens of bags of fresh fillets that are just absolutely the best you'll get anywhere. And that's really the last and the final reward of this trip, is just looking down at all of this fresh fish that I have to eat for months and months. So I'll tell you, put in the extra time to take care of your fish, and at the end of the day, you're just gonna be able to enjoy these great fresh seafood meals for months and months from just one trip. Another one on the jig. Woo!
That's grouper dynamo.
Yeah! How's that for a sea monster?
chaos, gear matters. Shop online or visit our new superstore for everything fishing.
Boats get dirty, that's a fact. Thankfully, Rejuvenate Marine uses patented nanotechnology to make your boat cleaning faster and easier, literally cutting your cleaning time in half. Watch this. With highly concentrated biodegradable ingredients across their complete line of cleaning and care products, Rejuvenate Marine lasts longer while providing professional cleaning power that's safe for all surfaces and for the environment. Rejuvenate Marine. Spend more time fishing and less time cleaning. The complete line of Rejuvenate Marine cleaning and care products is now available at Boat Owners Warehouse. Visit your local superstore or shop online and see the difference for yourself. So the mate's drinking Red Bulls. I asked him, how many Red Bulls do you drink on a trip? He says, not that many, 24. I said, every trip? He says, no, we switch it up. One trip we drink 24 Monsters. Next trip, 24 Red Bulls. You know, I guess variety's the spice of life. You got a fish, Ina? It's not that big of a mess. It's nothing, You'll be out in 2 minutes. Yeah. 2 minutes. Huh? 2 minutes, you'll be out. Still in the freezer for the season. And the neighbors' freezers. And the friends' freezers. And the family members' freezers. Donate some to my local temple. Look at the colors on that. Colors on that thing. The little blue up on top right by the dorsal, right under the eye. Those little blue polka dots. See those little blue spots right there? Why do you think he has those? They got to be there for a reason. Probably to attract a mate. Look at that. Could be the best tasting fish in the ocean right there. Pink porgy. Sharp. Got to be careful handling these. Those things right there like needles. Woo! Look at that. Super, super sharp.
Rigging Station, brought to you by Diamond Fishing, the finest monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braided fishing line.
Caught some monster queens on bait. I'm going to try and jig one. Now this is a special outfit that we designed specifically for this fishery. It allows me to fish jigs in the 400 to 600 gram range. Right now I've got a 400 gram long jig on, an FSF jig, but more importantly is the line. We went from 30 pound down to 20 pound. So it's ultra thin, allows me to cut through that water column substantially easier than with the 30 pound, which is important in this depth. So it's the combination of the heavier jig, in that 400 to 500 gram range, and that lighter line. See if it pays off here. There we go, hit right there. No. There he is. There he, oh, missed it. There he came back for it. Right there. Like that. Just like that. Sometimes that all it does to make that difference is that combination. Again, fine tuning it. That's what slow pitch jigging in general is really about. The details. Right now the fish is smoking me, taking me straight down. You can get this rod at fsfgear.com, and it's again designed for specifically this type of fishing. Heavier jigs, deeper water. Got a Daiwa 35 HA loaded with 20 pound diamond line, diamond braid. Just a winch, just crank them up. Oh, so much fun on this tackle. You've got to be real careful when you're loading your reels with braid. It's real important that you pack that line on with a line winding machine, because if it's loose, if it's not packed on the reel tight, look again, screaming line, when you're this tight to a fish at this depth and that line is so stretched out, it'll cut into the reel, it'll dig into the reel. That is one strong fish right there. One strong fish. Get hooked up, shop online, and get your hands on the same proven tackle you see on Florida Sport Fishing TV. Our entire selection of technique-specific rods, deadly jigs sold rigged and ready to fish, performance apparel, headwear, drinkware, and even vivid life-size wall murals to show off your trophy catch. All of this and so much more in stock and ready for immediate delivery. Enter FSF TV at checkout and receive a special gift.
What if navigating was as simple as touch and go? It is that simple. The world's first multi-touch MFD chart plotter, Navnet TZ Touch.
Florida Sport Fishing TV proudly utilizes and endorses Boat Outfitters, where owners and builders go for replacement parts and hard-to-find hardware. Motor Guide, precise maneuverability equals better fishing. Tropic Trailer, Florida's largest dealer, has the right trailer at the right price.
Big queens, giant queens, trophy queen snappers. You know, one of these queen snappers is like the fish of a lifetime for most guys that love bottom fishing. To catch a giant 15, 18 pound queen snapper is really the experience of a lifetime. It just doesn't happen every day. Okay, super fortunate. And right here, this is the only boat, the Yankee Captains, that, you know, will make it happen for you. Out here in this region, this is your only option, and it's, of course, the best option. These guys are dialed in. They've been doing this for years. You know, certainly you can come out here on your own boat, and people often say to me, why don't you guys come out here on your CV, you know, on your center console? And, you know, maybe one day we will, but these trips with big groups, you know, obviously we can't accommodate 25 people for 4 days. So between the gourmet food, you know, the air-conditioned bunk room and galley and main cabin and just everything that comes together to make these trips really, really special. And then to get on a spot like this and to have these big giant queen snappers coming up is just the icing on the cake. And you know, you've seen it all. Everything you've watched has been real. Okay, none of this is scripted, none of this is written, none of this is planned. We've prepared for it all, but what we've shared with you is real. Okay? Oh my God, look at that. 2 giant queens on 1 jig. 2 giant queen snapper on 1 jig. Where else does that happen? Unbelievable. 2 up there on 1 jig. One on the front of the jig and one on the back of the jig. Incredible. All right, this is off the reservation, Greg. So as our second day and final day comes to a close and we start steaming back toward port, I can't help but recollect what an absolutely awesome adventure this has been. You know, I fished on this boat dozens of times. You've seen all of the episodes that we have filmed aboard Yankee Capts, but this one was special. It really, really was. This was a look and learn kind of trip. We fished areas beyond Pulley Ridge. I don't even know the name of some of these spots that we were fishing. They were so far offshore. You know, we fished a lot of virgin territory, looking around, dropping on pieces of bottom that have likely never been fished before, fish that have never seen a jig or never seen a deep drop rig. And that's what we primarily did, was a lot of investigative type of fishing, exploratory type of fishing. And I'll tell you, we racked up some serious numbers on this trip. We are beat up. We are just worn out. We're sore, cut up hands, sore muscles, and everybody feels the same. But we all feel privileged to have had this opportunity to cash in on this fishery, you know, and I think the icing on the cake was the last spot. and this piece of hard bottom came up and was surrounded by monster queen snapper. And I'm not talking about your ordinary 5 to 15 pound queens. I'm talking about Jurassic Park kind of stuff. You know, these absolute gargantuan queen snappers, some of the largest I've ever seen in my entire fishing career. I mean, some of the guys that were up in the bow jigging were catching 2 at a time on jigs. 2 trophy queen snapper, forget 1, 2. One on the forward part of the jig and one on the tail end of the jig. And it happened more than once. So that just goes to show you how aggressive these queen snappers were. The guys, including myself, that were deep dropping were catching just monster queen snappers. But when I look back and I think about everything that we've been through and all of the hours that we've been fishing, you know, throughout the day, throughout the entire night, and then throughout the entire day again, just really a spectacular experience. And if you've never done this, I can't stress how awesome a trip aboard Yankee Capts really is. And I'll tell you what, regardless of everything you've seen, or regardless of how exciting this episode was, wait till you see 2021, because we've got something in store next year that is unlike anything you've ever seen before.
To learn more about the tactics and techniques seen on today's show, and to subscribe to Florida Sport Fishing Magazine at floridasportfishing.com and get hooked up.